I'm Dan Drake. This is Front Up on Geno TV and Channel 99. Our guest is Janet Schulte, the Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce.
Morning,
Janet,
Dan.
welcome.
Thank you.
We have some things to talk about.
We do.
There's a lot going on, and not all of it's good.
No, some pretty tough times coming up ahead of us.
Why?
Well, the governor cut the Tourism Trust Fund money by 50% in December. And we had already spent all the money for fall and spring, or for fall and stroll money, so we only had about $10,000 left.
How much, as opposed to how much?
Another 100,000. We were scheduled for 200,000, so we only got 100. So we did a lot of cuts in the budget, and the money that I did have left, it might have been a little more than that, maybe 20. We can use some of that money to offset some of our administrative expenses, but I said, we're here to market the island, and we're going to have to suck it up and use this money for marketing. So we have been marketing for Daffodil. We're also being more creative with ways that we use social media to do that. And our partners, our Platinum, Premium, and Prestige partners have helped us out with that too.
So if somebody, have you seen any fall off? Because the advertising, the state's advertising has been cut back too, right? The general tourism advertising.
Yeah.
Have you seen any reduction in website hits or in requests for information? Or
No, it's as busy as ever. I mean, we're getting requests every day from visitor information centers up and down the East Coast for the guidebook, which we published earlier this year. So we'd already put all that money in the, spent all that money when the cuts came. And we're getting a lot of calls every day for information about what to do on the island and when's the best time to visit and all of that. In fact, the volume's been really picking up in the last couple of weeks.
has it? Yeah. And you're telling them April, the last week in March and the first week in April, the best time to visit.
Absolutely, come now.
The other big issue, I guess, is the H-2B visa issue and the impact it's having on island businesses. And why don't we talk about that and then where we see it going?
Well, the cap for H-2B visas was hit on March 13th, and that's 33,000 visas that are awarded by the Immigration Service. And
that's capped from when?
That's the October. It goes October to April and April till October. Okay. So the April one was hit on March 13th. Larger organizations did pretty well getting their applications in, but smaller places did not. So places like the Downy Flake don't have staff right now to be able to open the restaurant. So there have been some lobbying efforts going on. Scott Thomas from Nantucket Inn went down on March 20th or so with a group that was flying in to lobby the legislators, the House of Representatives, to get what's called the returning workers exemption put back in. And that's a policy that if it was enacted in 2016, if you had an H-2B visa, the 3 previous years you could continue without affecting the cap. So there were more H-2B
there was a bigger
people.
Bigger pool. Yeah.
And that expired. So the effort now is to reinstate the RWA exemption, and they've been working. Representative Keating has been supportive of that. I think he'll get a lot of company when he's on island on Friday to talk more about that.
That's today.
That's today, yeah. Yeah, this afternoon. And there are letters going to the Appropriations Committee because the thought is if they have to pass a continuing resolution to continue the federal budget at the end of April, that's the opportunity to hitch this to that continuing resolution for the exemption. There's also a new bill introduced a couple days ago in the House called the Strengthen Employees and Seasonal Opportunities Now season. Very clever. To bring that to help ensure that would make the returning workers exemption permanent and make it easier to apply for the H-2B visa program.
What are the obstacles in applying for it now, other than the numbers, obviously, of ones that are available?
I'm not that familiar with, I have never actually seen a petition. I just hear from my members about what's going on and how it's affecting them. But my sense is it has to do with level of skill that people have to bring here, and that you are supposed to gradually get promoted up into the organization for which you're working. And that's why
isn't this, I mean, just sort of just take a step back and forget about the impact on Nantucket and other communities. Well, isn't this somewhat consistent with the White House's policy on overall policies on immigration and American jobs and so forth?
Well, this is actually having an impact on American jobs because if places can't open because they don't have these other employees, we're losing American jobs by it. And it's really a small business issue more than it is an immigration issue. because they're here for a set period of time, and then they're supposed to.
They're used
go
primarily
somewhere
in
else.
resorts, right?
Yeah, although landscapers in parts of the country, Scott told me that when he was in Washington that he thought 60 or 65% of the people involved in this effort were landscaping companies from around the country. And what people are doing now is recruiting from other resorts, as they've always done, but even more intensely. And then probably there's a higher premium being paid on some of those people.
And then the housing issue, of course.
Yes, and the housing issue, of course. On the other side of that, we've been working with the high school reached out to me and said, we'd like to get some high school students in some of these jobs. Can you help us get the word out that we have a bulletin board? I'm like, bulletin board? This is the 21st century. Put it on the Facebook. And so there was some immediate connections made within 24 hours to reach out to the high school students.
But the problem is they go back to school.
Exactly.
And
we need people to open and
we actually
close.
had an interesting experience at the airport with, I don't know if you heard about this, with our H-2B visa applications.
No.
They said that we had to commit to pay prevailing wage.
Wow.
If we were to get the visas, which meant we had to pay about $3 an hour more.
Wow.
To the ramp help that we get in the summertime.
Wow.
And it just wasn't feasible.
That's a big budget hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know what basis they have for saying that, but that's what they told us. So what we're actually doing is working, Tom Rafter's working with a couple of, I know this, you're the guest, but I'm going to say this anyway. Tom Rafter's working with a couple of schools with aviation programs.
Oh, yeah.
To try to set up basically a semester program.
That's a pretty cool idea.
For the fall semester.
Yeah.
So these kids would be here and working as part of there's a term for it, but
internship kind of thing?
It's kind of an internship, but it's
that'd be neat.
Yeah.
I heard Stop and Shop's increased their hourly rate by $1 to try to draw more people into the store. They hire 200 people every summer.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's but they usually hire them part-time, don't they?
Yeah, I think it's a second job
situation. And this is their first.
Yeah, and a lot of H-2Bs work at the Stop and Shop as the second job as well.
Anyway.
Or in the restaurants. And yeah, so it gets really like a ripple effect.
Is there any good news?
We've got 110 cars in the Daffodil Parade. We've got a waiting list already, and they're all paid.
You spent that money already, too.
Spent that money, too. Our guidebook came out in January this year instead of in this time of year, and we've been shuffling it out the door really quickly. I'm hearing that the inns and hotels are getting lots of inquiries and reservations for the summer. There was some concern from the state that the declaration on travel bans would impact travel to Massachusetts from all over the place, and I haven't heard anyone say that they're having an issue with that.
Why was that? Was there some?
There have been reports around the country that people are from China and Europe are not coming to the United States because of fear of the travel ban.
Yeah.
But they're not.
It was not something that Massachusetts did.
No.
It was the impact here.
Yeah. So we've been talking about that. The Mass Office of Travel and Tourism had its quarterly meeting at the John F. Kennedy Museum last week, and we got to learn more about the 100th centennial of Kennedy's birth and all the programs that are going on around the state for that kind of work.
Was that this year?
This year, 1917.
Scary. Anything else specifically here on the island, looking beyond Daffodil Weekend? You haven't engaged a weather maker yet, have you?
No. And knock on wood, I've had good luck with the weather for these festivals, the three that I've commanded. So we're hoping for the next one. We've got lots of volunteers lined up for Daffodil, and we still need a few more. So if anybody is controlling or judgmental, we can use them to help with these events.
Doing what kinds of things, just in case?
Judging and helping corral all those cars up Main Street and then getting them parked in Sconset. It's quite an effort. We've got dogs to judge and bicycle parades to control and hats to look at and windows to do and merchandise to sell. General just stuff around the office this time of year that needs to get done because we've got too many things going on. Yeah, I hear good things of the festivals. All seem to be gearing up and getting ready to go. book festival has got some great authors coming. I'm sure.
Yeah, they do. I've read about those. People are saying there are too many of them now.
Too many authors?
Too many festivals.
Oh yeah, yeah. Somebody said, we need another festival. And I go, no, I don't think we do. Not between June and September anyway.
So as far as the chamber itself is concerned, how have you reorganized things in order to keep up with stay with the money flow rather than get ahead of it?
We're looking at some new ideas that are among all the regional tourism councils, especially the Cape and the Islands, are talking about this idea that's been very lucrative in California called the tourism business industry, tourism TBID, Business Improvement District. Tourism Business Improvement District, which puts a fee on heads and beds that generates marketing dollars that's then controlled by the people who generate that money, because we want to move away from our dependence on state dollars because of this roller coaster ride that seems to happen every year with we're going to give you the money and then we're not going to give you the money, and it just messes up people's budgets and frustrates efforts, and you can't really plan a campaign when you don't really know if you're going to have funds. So we're looking at that. There's a conference call set up in a couple of weeks to talk with the people who created this instrument in California and up and down the West Coast. We're going to try to bring our digital advertising in-house. We've been outsourcing that for several years, but we've got the capacity to do that, and we're going to partner to do the video pieces of that as well. And we're recruiting more members. I've hired the Young Creatives group to help me think about how to market the chamber, which is a very foreign concept to them. And the idea of
to the chamber or to the Young Creatives?
To the Young Creatives. Well, maybe some chamber too.
The chamber's a foreign idea to them, I think.
It is, absolutely. And when you say come to a business after hours, they go, what do you mean business after hours? They're working all the time.
Right.
Well, they have a very different way of approaching business than we do. So I decided I needed to bring people who thought about these things around the camp circle and talk to us about what we need to do differently.
Just a question. Those big ads that are painted up on the wall in Terminal 3 at Logan, and we had a very prominent, Nantucket had a very prominent one there for a while over last summer. Who pays for those?
That's Massport. They circulate them around the RTCs. I think it's still up. I got a picture a couple of weeks ago.
I think they moved it. It's a different place. I don't think it's quite as big.
Whenever anybody goes through Terminal 3 and sees it and takes a picture and tweets it to me, it's like, thank you, I have a lot of those now.
But they do pay for it.
They do, yes.
That's nice. Yeah. Because it's a lot of wall cover.
It is. And I love the Cape airplanes with the daffodils on them and all that stuff that keep Nantucket in the mind's eye.
Very good. Well, Janet, I wish you well with these various projects you've got going on.
Thank you.
And look forward to a very productive and wonderful summer.
Yeah, thanks. Good to see you.
Thank you, Janet.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.